Hello everyone, Rare Model Reviews here, and today I will be having a look at the high grade 1 to 144 scale Gelgoog Menace Ludemaria Custom. So, first and foremost, by its name itself, it kind of hints that they're probably going to make a mass-produced version of the Gelgoog. Although now thinking about it, I think it was really just Hilda's men that used the other Gelgoogs, but as of now, I do not believe they released any mass-produced version of this thing yet, so we just have Luna's version of it. But regardless here, this thing looks amazing. It's masterly color separate. Unfortunately, though, that does kind of stop in a few areas, such as the backpack. There are quite a bit of stickers for the backpack. That's where the majority of the stickers go. Everything else is more so just stuff for a few areas, such as on the thrusters here. There's these stickers here that they use for the bottoms of the thrusters, and on cameras, of course, such as the eye, the weapons, what have you. But for the backpack here, we have this one giant sticker that makes up most of the wing. You might not be able to tell if it's a sticker until you shine some light on, you see that glossy effect, or you see some of the wrinkles from the sticker, because I didn't apply it just perfectly. There's some stickers on the missile pod there, as well as on the is this a railgun? One of these is a railgun. I forget which one it is, but there's a sticker that goes along these sides here. There's another one inside this area. When I extend it, you'll see, as well as on the wings here. Those are stickers. On the side armor, again, those are stickers for the purple area. So it's nice that they have stickers for the color separated areas and all that. So for the most part, the only coloring you need to do is just lining and some areas that you'd have to shade in and what have you. So I did something different this thing, line wise. I took out my Real Touch marker, my red one I should say, and I lined up a whole bunch of areas on it. I heard that that's what you should be doing for red kits like this. Use the red Real Touch marker to kind of shade in. So I let you guys be the guest on how much it shows for areas. Because again, majority of this thing, I used the red Real Touch marker. I only used the black for a few areas, such as like coloring in or such as lining the thrusters there for the backpack, stuff like that. And speaking of which, I might as well mention it now. This thing does have a gimmick you can do with the backpack here. If you have any of the wizard packs for the high grade Zaku Warriors, you can use it with this thing, as it has a compatible adaptation piece here for the backpack. I do not have any of those, but I can definitely say if there is just a standard high grade Gunner Zaku, not the Lunemaria version, I would be tempted to get that. So if I ever randomly decide to pick up a Gunner Zaku Warrior, I'd definitely bring this guy back out and show off that stuff does work. So I guess getting on to accessories. Accessories, articulation. So I believe we went over colors long enough. I'll go into the backpack since already is moving around. So as you can see, of course, the wings can move up and down. It's more so for its, dare I say, transformation. But as you can see, the backpack has quite a bit of articulation to it. So very good there. Since I guess that's kind of it for the backpack. We'll now go on to the head, which I usually start with. The head, unfortunately, is very big and bulky and stiff as well, so you can only really move it side to side. However, it does have this nice gimmick. I want to show off the face very detailed so you guys can notice this, where if you remove the helmet, you can move the camera slightly side to side. You guys can probably barely notice that, but I actually was having a lot of issues with this thing, but eventually after playing around with it enough, I think I loosened it up good enough, so finally I can show off the camera moving around a bit. Only problem is, you take that front plate off, it sometimes gets to that weird awkward position where the top of the helmet doesn't quite go down flush. So it gives it this weird look like this, where it's like super, like, I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't look right. But moving on, with most modern kits on all lines, you of course can move the shoulders out pretty far, so that is great for crossed arm poses and what have you, and shooting poses. It can also move up a decent bit. So again, this thing has pretty great articulation. Unfortunately, due to the nature of these side thrusters or whatever these are supposed to be, it does kind of hinder the arm movement a little bit. You can kind of maneuver it around a little bit to kind of overcome that little obstacle, but overall, I can't complain about the articulation too much. I think it's pretty good. We have a ball joint wrist here for the hand, so that can move around. Fortunately, this does not have any extra kind of pivoting movement. If they separated this part here, made a different part, so just two sandwiched together parts, this will probably have some movement under here. What would that be? The forearm or bicep, but fortunately does not. We have a ball joint waist, so it can swivel around. Has a pretty good ab crunch though, so there's that. So where else do we go from here? The side armor moves up slightly like this, and for the most part can do a split. Of course, has the big bulky backpack also kind of hinders it a bit, but overall pretty good articulation. Both of the front armors are detachable, of course. You can cut the little ball joint socket thing as per standard, these modern high grades, to get that split open. This thing probably be able to do a good back kick, but unfortunately the back armor, which I want to point out, I had some troubles attaching. This doesn't move, so it's kind of static there. The leg, I think this thing would be able to move more than that if it weren't for the fact that this thing's kind of big and bulky. Oh boy, I'll deal with that later. The toes can bend like this, which is strange for it to do because this is usually something that only a transformable mobile suit can do, but it still is nice that it can do so. I personally wish it moved in the opposite direction though, but still good for flying poses. The ankle armor here can move up a smidge, so that, again, that's good for some of those aerial poses there. The feet here can almost, or should I say ankles, can almost move 360, so great range of movement. So that is great for some more planted poses and what have you, like you can see here. Fortunately, this backpack's a little big and heavy, but once you get this thing planted in just the right ways, as you can see, it has no issue standing, so you can really utilize that for a lot of grounded poses. Of course, you have some movement there underneath the what would you call that, the hips, waist, yeah. But I believe that's really about it for articulation. I don't think I missed out on anything, so I guess it's about time we go ahead and look over the accessories for this thing. All right, so for accessories here, first and foremost, we have this little piece here to put both of the rifles onto the back skirt armor of the Gelgoog. We have the shield here all in its completed form. I'm not gonna lie, I was too lazy to detach everything, but I'll eventually have to detach it for one of the gimmicks that I'll show off with this thing later. We have the rifle here, which amazingly has a stock that is movable. Not all high grades do this, so I'm very glad that this one does. Has a sticker for the scope in there, if you can make that out. We have, again, this one, I believe it's called a railgun, I could be wrong. This one has surprisingly one sticker that you slap all around this scope area here, which covers the red part here and the scope. So very odd looking sticker, if I do say so myself, but I guess they couldn't spring to have a actual piece here to put on to it for the scope here, but whatever. We have two amazing looking beam effect parts here for the halberd, so I'm in love with that. And then there's two versions of the halberd here, which I hate when they do this. I feel like it'd be a lot less effort if they just made some sort of a gimmick for it to extend and distend, but we have it in a storage state and its extended state. You can put the beam in both of these, so I'll show it off later. There's one caveat about using the smaller storage state, but that is it for accessories, so let's go ahead and look at them on the Gelgoog itself. So of course, before I forget, I want to show this thing off on an action base. So as per standard here, you have the hole inside the crotch. You just attach the appropriate connection point on into it. It extends up, or should I say holds up, just fine on an action base here. So now you get this thing posed off on amazing aerial positions, which obviously with this aerial pack it has here, it is just destined to do. No pun intended. And with this little brief demonstration of how amazing you can get your Gelgoog Menace here, we are going to go ahead and look at the accessories in full detail. All right, so taking out the first accessory here, I guess I'll go over the halberd. So you would simply just take the little beam effect parts, which I always feel like I have a harder time attaching than I should. You'd make sure that everything is lined up in the grooves here. There's kind of, if you can see the beams there, this thing will focus on it. There we go. It's kind of a indentation where you can tell which end is supposed to go where. You would then, of course, oops, as per standard with any high grade, detach the hand, line it up with the grooves like so, put the hand on like so, And voila. Now you reattach it, and now you have the beam halberd here. So one issue that I have heard from this thing is that it doesn't quite hold the halberd in this hand. It's not going to fall out, but sometimes, of course, these things always love making me a liar. The halberd would kind of slide up in the hand like so. I think that that's because this one isn't more so supposed to be used with the halberd, supposed to just stored on the waist. But regardless, if you want to use it in a smaller store state, as you can see, you can. So when you are, of course, done with the halberd, you of course just detach everything. And I might as well reattach this with the extended state here as well while we're at it. Oops. There we go. Which I feel like has a, if you can see, it has like a thicker area, so it kind of helps keep it in the hand a little better. But as I was saying, there is a, if you see a little peg in there, so you would simply just line up the peg with the hole in the halberd, and voila, holds in just fine on the back of the Gelgoog here. But I'm going to take that off because, of course, I want to show that you can use it on the extended version of the halberd as well. So, same deal. Just make sure all the grooves are in place for the halberd. And again, holds in just fine. You won't have any issues with this thing whatsoever. Very amazing looking weapon. So this one kind of fell off a little bit. Maybe it was this one actually doesn't hold in quite right. I thought it was a smaller one. All right, so now you see the bigger one doesn't quite want to hold in the groove sometimes. But moving on. We're going to go ahead and get that detached. I'm not going to attach the hand just yet because the next accessory, I'm sure you can guess what that is. But oh, actually, no, this one's not supposed to be stored. Oh, I swore I put this on a storage rack before, but no, this one cannot be stored. This is the one that they want you to have in use. So you just have to kind of eat this away somewhere where it's not in use. But okay, so now we know the storage state, ironically, can only be stored on a backpack. But again, have the beam rifle. We're going to bring this on back out. Same deal as the halberd. You just make sure you split the hand apart, sandwich it back on, then throw it on in. And as I'm sure you can guess with any sandwich style weapons, holds in just fine, no problems whatsoever. And of course, we're going to go ahead and utilize this thing's amazing articulation and show off that, of course, you can indeed have this thing put the little handle, the secondary handle in this thing's hand. You can get it done a little better than this, but this is me not trying to go crazy with it. So very good. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the second accessory. And that's going to be the railgun here. And first and foremost, I want to show off that thanks to them having these sandwich hands that are kind of universal, a little lazy, and they don't look as good as some of the more detailed hands. However, it does have the perk of you being able to hold both weapons in the hands, like so. So, of course, if you want to utilize the little side handles, you're kind of going to have to put them on the right hand, as they usually want you to hold that extra grip on the left hand. But again, you can have them in both hands like so. And whenever you are done with each weapon, there's a little hole there. You're going to make sure you put the smaller hole inside there. And then you can mount the, oh, actually, whoa, that's not right. I mean, it probably would be able to fit in here. It's just the fact that that's a little awkward to do. But actually, no, I did that wrong. It's actually supposed to be on this side here. And I'm not sure if it may even tell you to put it in there like that. Huh, weird. But yeah, you're supposed to actually put it in this way. So there we go. Now I have the rifle on its rare armor. Oh, I'm actually glad it did that. So of course, let me move that for a second there. There we go. We place the hand. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and put it in the right hand. So we can go ahead and show off this thing's ability to, again, grip the movable handle that this thing has for the railgun as well. So same deal as the rifle. You can maneuver this thing just right. You can go ahead and have it hold on to the railgun with both hands like so. Get yourself some nice dynamic shooting poses going. So for our last accessory, I guess I should probably show this thing off in the store position first, huh? So let me go ahead and do that before we go on to our last accessory. But again, see, it has that hole there, so I'm pretty sure it can. Oh, see, now I wouldn't be able to this because this is way too big. But again, it's supposed to go in from the side right there, so you have the hole, and you just peg it on in like so. And now you can have the railgun on its back, and this is where it's going to stay for the remainder of the review here. But we bring it back out the shield. So as you can see here, that's how it looks like from the back. Looks a little strange, but shield is as simple as just pegging onto one of the holes on either side. And voila, you got some nice dynamic blocking poses with this thing. Now, one cool thing about the shield that I absolutely adore, and this is what I meant about last week's review with them seeming to be adopting new technology and sticking with it. As you can see, it has the handle in the shield, and it holds this thing in even better than the Maxter held its shield, just simply because this shield is a lot smaller and lighter. So you can have it holding the shield, and dare I say, a more traditional form of you just simply holding it forward as opposed to having to peg it onto the arm. Now, unfortunately, I'm sure I don't have to stress that it cannot hold the shield in the hand and peg it into the arm. It's just simply not long enough. So the handle is literally just for you holding it in a more traditional style. And again, I just love them for doing that. Bandai, if you're watching this, keep this up. Keep doing stuff like this, giving you the option to peg it in the arm and hold the shield in the hand. This is something that everybody wanted to see done perfectly since these things started doing this with the master grids. I don't think the high grids more so did these too much, but also want to mention this thing's a ball joint, so it can move around a little bit. But this thing also has, actually I do need to take this apart, has the ability to be stored in a collapsible state. So for the collapse state, you do have to remove the beam effects. So you would then go ahead, actually I don't think I need to remove that part, but I did it anyway. You would simply just fold them on top of each other like so. And now you can go ahead and plug it onto the arm. Oop. Wants to stay. Sometimes I can't get this thing in quite right, because it's like a circular hole, so it's a one size fits all kind of thing. But again, I don't know why this thing fights me. At least I think it is. Maybe it isn't. You know, I don't think it is. Maybe that's why. Because now I look at it, I think it is a little rectangular. It's like a rectangular hole. There we go. Now it's in right. So, okay. Do you know? Now you know this thing does not one size fit all. You have to make sure it's in the right side. Now, it of course fits in better like this, but I'm pretty sure they want you to have it held in backwards like this. The problem is this wonky armor always gets in the way with everything. So this thing can't even hold it quite the way they want you to in its stored state. But voila, there you have it. So now on for our last accessory, which really is more of a gimmick, and that is going to be the backpack. So this is as simple as you just, as you can see, raising the wings here. I'm gonna have to probably move the armor a little bit. And then they want you to lift up the backpack a bit. I might have to move the arms in this awkward way though to get the wings to clear. But you would then be able to grab the rifle, railgun, whatever this thing on backpack's called. And voila. I think you can move the shoulders down a little bit. There we go. Now you have this thing with this over the shoulder backpack weapons here going. So voila. That is it for this thing and all its accessories. So I'm going to, of course, end this thing off with some size comparisons. So first and foremost, I'm going to bring back out this guy. I only showed him next to kits in this universe, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out of his universe and show it next to a standard size suit. And as you can see, of course, the Maxter is a miniaturized mobile suit. It is much smaller than the Gelgoog, which is a standard size suit. And then we're going to take out the Real Great Strike Freedom, which, if you've seen my review of this guy, you might have complained that I was lazy and didn't line or decal this thing. Well, I have since done so. So this is a nice little look of this thing all kitted out for you guys. So I'll go ahead and show that off for those of you who were a little upset that I didn't get to show off this P-Bandai exclusive in all its glory. So there you have it. Took me quite some time to do so, but there you have it. You have this guy, like I said, all decaled and lined up. Yeah, I can definitely say it definitely was worth the time and effort I put into doing so. But although you were the star of the show of both Destiny and Freedom, you are not the star of this review. So showing this thing off in the size comparison, as you can see, the Gelgoog is indeed a bit taller than it. I have to hold this thing up because, for starters, this is a bit of an earlier real grade, so as a result, it has early real grade syndrome, as some may call it, where things don't quite want to stand up. And as you can see with how big and intricate this backpack is, it makes the leg literally want to fall off when you try to stand it up, no matter how many times you put this thing in. It doesn't help that the backpack wasn't attached. I'm sorry, the legs aren't attached in a standard peg with a rivet. So again, this thing does not want to stand up. You try to stand up, the leg wants to fall off. But that is going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and take this guy out of here before he falls yet again. That is what you heard earlier. If you were confused, that was him falling over because I tried to stand him up. But as I'm sure you guys can guess, I'm of course going to be giving this thing 2 thumbs way up in the air. This is going to be in S rating for this thing's review. I absolutely love this thing. Of course, the stickers are a little egregious on this thing, but spoiler, there's another kit that is even more egregious to this thing, so I cannot complain. But overall, I'm very satisfied with the experimental real touch lining I did with this thing. The build, of course, was fun and unique, and definitely I enjoyed building this thing. So if they were to make a mass-produced version of this thing, which I'm sure they are, I'll pick it up. I'll definitely say I'll pick it up. I'm even interested in getting a high-grade Gunner Warrior now, as I definitely do want to experiment with how this thing would look like with a launcher pack. And yeah, if you're a fan of Luna, if you're a fan of Gelgoogs, or you're just seeing this review and you think this thing looks cool, pick it up. It's roughly about 30 bucks, and I can definitely say I don't regret picking it up, and I'm sure you won't either. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Rare Mod Reviews. Like and subscribe if you enjoy what you're seeing, so you can stay up to date with my videos and reviews. And of course, be sure to comment down below. Do you have this thing? What's your experience with it? Do you have any questions for me with this thing and what have you? Go ahead and leave them down below. I am friendly, and so is my community. And I'm sure any of us will be happy to start some dialogue down below. So thank you so much for watching, and see you for the next review.